starting to bleed one element of the ice into the other, defensively to offensively to neutral zone to goaltending, power play. It seems like everything right now is a crisis of confidence.
Well, where do you think that comes from? I think it comes from an unhealthy energy right now, John. I mean, there's a lot of negative being said about the team, and the players are feeling it. And what happens is it always finds a way onto the ice. Sometimes you can get fractions of the locker room that talk and they're negative, and sometimes those players hang out long enough that management recognizes it and they move those players out. And sometimes during a hockey season, big change happens just to change the energy. But that's really what Adam Fox looks like he's trying to describe there.
Yeah. Speaking of changing the energy, Jacob Trouba did his best to do that in the second period. One huge hit early in the period, which resulted in a fight, and then a huge hit on Athanasiou later in the period, which resulted in another fight. We, as Adam Fox said, we know what Jacob Trouba was trying to do, but he shouldn't have to be the guy to do it. Nobody should have to do it because he was trying to wake up a sleepwalking team.
That's what he was trying to do, and he did do it for moments, for bits and spurts. And as we say in hockey, there's many different reasons why you hit somebody. It's to separate your opponent from the puck. It's sometimes to send a message, to get more room on the ice, or to make a deterrent. But the thing about Trouba here is he is doing it 100% to fire up the team. And his hits were forceful. He was playing out of his mind at moments, and this wasn't to hurt intentionally any of the Chicago players. It was all about getting his guys going. He's the captain. He's trying to lead by that physical moment and then provide some emotional support to the guys. And I just, you know, it's getting hard for him, though, because he's not playing his best on the ice, and he knows it. And when you're not playing your best and you're the captain, your voice, it diminishes in the locker room. I've seen it all through my career, and he's going through that right now for the first time.
With his words and his actions, a literal and figurative wake-up call from Jacob Trouba to his team there in the second period. He stepped up to a couple of Blackhawks on the ice. Moments ago, he stepped up to chat with the assembled media.
Yeah, it's, I think you said it. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to build on, especially when you get a goal late in the period like that. To come out and not do much isn't good enough.
Is it hard to, I mean, you did some good things, you controlled a lot of this game, but is it hard to keep accentuating some positives when the results just haven't been there?
Yeah, it's a result league. This is you need to win hockey games, and it's an emotional game. You got to play with some emotion, some energy. It's not just going to happen. You got to go make it happen and will it to happen. And I think we could use a little bit more of that.
What do you think was missing from the response in the third period?
Careful what I say. I just say the energy, the will, the fight, the determination. You get a goal, big goal going into the third, and come out and don't do much of anything with it. It's definitely disappointing.
Jacob, when you talk about willing the team, is that what you're trying to do with some of the hits and the fights and the stuff the last couple of nights? Are you trying to provide a spark in that way?
I think we could use a little bit more emotion, a little more will in our game. It's not easy. You're not out here just going for a twirl. It's a hard game, and you got to play it hard.
I understand why you have to be careful with what you say, but also I think it speaks to the frustration that you do feel like you have to be careful with what you say. How frustrated are you right now with what's going on here?
We're going through it. I think there's a lot of story left to be written. I think it's not a done thing by any means, but it's gone on for a bit now, and something needs to change. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a pushback from ourselves within, and we can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Succinct and honest from Jacob Trouba. Something to discuss here. It's an emotional game. It's not just going to happen. We need to make it happen. We need a little bit more of that. A long pause after a question, and he said, we need a little bit more emotion, more will. We're not just going for a twirl. And then he said more pushback. There's a lot of references to much more about will with this Ranger team right now than skill.
What I got from that was care. He wants to see everybody care so deeply that their effort is shown. he will not try and put anybody under the bus, but I think what he really would like at this moment is to see some change within the lineup. And I'm talking about, you can't shame and blame millionaires, but you can take away what's most precious to them, and that's ice time. And some players need to be upstairs watching right now and get a new perspective.
Yeah, interesting. Emotion from Jacob Trouba with his words, with his thoughts, with his actions on the ice as well in a 5-2 loss to the Black. Jacob Trouba squaring off for the first of 2 fights tonight, 3 in the last 24 hours. This one after a 5-2 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's the head coach, Gerard Gallant. His press conference is presented by Chase.
Was different tonight, or is it much of the same as that sport?
No, it was different. Definitely different.
What was different for you?
Well, the way we played. We did. I mean, again, we got to make some adjustments on some of those goals that are getting scored, wrist shots in the point and deflection screens in front of the net. But I thought we played faster and we played harder, but same result. So we got to make some adjustments and a couple different things, but we definitely played harder than we did the other night.
What do you think of your captain, himself tonight?
Well, he's trying. He's trying to get the guys on board and trying to pull them with him and big leadership. And, I mean, obviously we don't want Trouba fighting every 3 times in a weekend, but he's trying to get something out of our guys and, do the best he can. And that's what leadership's all about. So sometimes it doesn't happen in 1 night or 2 nights, but you got to keep working at it. You got to keep working hard and battling hard, and, we'll come out of this sooner or later.
Do you see enough of the, compete is the word maybe you use? You guys are...
I see more tonight than I did the other night, put it that way. And it's just got to be a team thing. It can't be 15, 14, 30. It's got to be 20. And that's what Trouba's, he sent the message, and I think we all seen it.
Is it hard, though, to justify the compete and all that stuff? Because when the losses are piling up the way that they have been recently?
Well, it's frustrating, but you're not going to win if you don't compete. That's the bottom line. No matter how skilled your team is or whatever, compete comes first. And,
What do you think? Did you expect a different momentum? Did you expect to be able to carry momentum over from the second to third? The way that finished in the second, you get a goal in the fight and all that, and they come out and they score.
Yeah, and the big thing was I thought we got momentum from that, and then first, second shift, Trocheck goes down, hits the post, short side, and then I think we just lost some momentum there. Like the guys kept saying, I mean, come on, like how many posts are we going to hit before it goes in? And I think you guys, what was it, 3 or 4 again tonight? So I think that frustrated them a little bit. I mean, it's part of the game. You got to keep work through it, and then they get the 4th goal in that play I just talked about. Wrist shot in the point, screen in front of the net with traffic.
Is that a little harder to battle through when you're going through what you're going through, seeing it pucks off the post?
No, well, at least we're getting some of those chances tonight. Like I was happy with some of the chances, but again, you just got to keep working. I mean, nothing comes easy in this league, and you got to work through it. You got to find a way, and we will.
When you talk about adjustments, like are you talking about defensively structured stuff that led to some of the goals?
We're getting in those lanes, And again, they're power plays, and you're trying to cut off some different seams, and our penalty killing's been great all season long. So, but again, when they got 2 guys in front of you, we got to make sure we're either blocking that shot out high or covering that lane a little bit. So.
You feel like you're getting the response you want from the guys, though, or is it still not quite there?
Well, obviously, the last 2 nights it wasn't as good as we want. And again, it's not everybody. Tonight was better. Trouba, like I said, he's trying to set an example for our team, and that's what he done. Goodrow's the same thing. And I'm not saying fighting's at all, but Trouba's always a big hit. We got some momentum from that, and you just got to bring more guys into the battle. And we talk about that all the time. If we're going to win, it's about battling for those pucks in the corner, battling on the half wall. You got to be involved in that. That's how you win games on the board play.
Thoughts and words from Gerard Gallant as we welcome you in the Blue Shirts Bar, presented by Bud Light for the fans on game day. Good place to belly up and kind of chat about the aftermath of this now. With now it's 5 losses in the last 6 games for the Rangers. They've certainly given up 20 goals in their 5 losses. But when you focus on tonight and you've processed the thoughts and words of who we've heard from so far, I know you had mentioned maybe it's time to put somebody upstairs or a couple somebodies. Yeah. What's the benefit of that?
Well, change, right? You can't, I disagree with what Gerard said there. I don't think that they worked harder tonight, competed better, and looked any better. I thought they looked worse. So something has to change. How do you change something? There's many different options in hockey. I've gone over them the last few days. something has to change. The energy has to change. The players aren't competing as hard as what I think he thinks they are. They're not. And that's why you don't get luck. You don't get luck because luck is worked for and then earned. 4 posts tonight, but guess what? You're on the other side of that luck when you compete and work harder and you're intense with all of your intentions. That's not what I'm seeing, and that's why you get bad luck. So I disagree.
Interesting. More to come on